So it's the weekend, it's time to relax, kick back, shoot the shit as they say. If you are an American that is a gun carrier, do not shoot your own excrement. Just advisable, you know. Anyway, for the non-literal people that knew that was a joke, let's get into this video about the new mode coming soon. So I wanted to take, because there was a lot of stuff that happened last week, and especially off the back of the live stream, I just wanted to take a bit of a moment to kind of look at, in more depth, all information that we currently know about this upcoming new mode. Like, I think it's July that it drops. It's either going to be July or August, one of the two. And look at just look at it in a bit more detail. This information, first of all, starts off a month ago. And this was what Kabam Crash brought to the live stream that gave us some facts on it. And also we'll be looking at some of the images as well. This is very much this is the recruitment, isn't it? This is the, as Kabam said, I have to jump around a bit. Fantastic Force recruitment. It is a July one, sorry. I did get that wrong. Well, as I said, it's either going to be July or August. So it's one of the two. But it is July. This is going to be dropping next month. We'll get more details next month as well, but just again, like looking at some of the details of the imagery, what's there? You can see, first of all, that's got Science Wrath to it in this boss fight reached here. Now, Science Wrath is something associated with using Science Champions. So if there is a 2-star access-based mechanic, and I think that Kabam said they were going to give out like loads of like 2-star based kind of like champion. So your roster, which your 2-star roster right here, is going to have to be stacked, and will be stacked, and will give you hopefully a level of playing field to use some of the champions. I think another kind of interesting thing with this is it's good that you're not able to use stuff like Ascension to kind of booster and bolster them up, because then otherwise there's unfair advantage. This should give hopefully a level playing field overall. But you never know with Kabam and stuff. Masteries, of course, will play a part of this, and unless there's a mastery set that you can do, maybe there's elements from Battlegrounds that's going to be chopped and changed, kind of put in. So you can see from this image right here, a lot of 2-stars are available. Don't be concerned with the fact that image there looks like Wong is a skill-based champion. That's not correct. You can see the event progression here. Now, I don't think this would be the rebirth event. I think that it might be it might be like a fantastic solo event or something like that, in order to get your research grants. There's also other numbers here, like there's a 7 there in one color, there's a 7 there in a different color. I don't know where that will be for players on the scheme of things. Like the number, is that important? Is it not important? Kabam have said that the highest ranks rewarded with the featured 7-star champions, and you can play this as much as you want. So whether this is a new thing similar to Battlegrounds, I'm looking for modes in the future that are a bit more kind of fun. And if this is going to be a fun competitive type mode, I'm not saying Battlegrounds isn't fun, it's just complex. You know, I've been reading up some discussion with some players of the thoughts around the game's complexity. With the fighting games coming the new Marvel fighting game coming next year, and say other games like Marvel Rivals and stuff like that, like there's less complexity. Whereas MCOC has always remained very complex. Node understanding, champion understanding, and coupled with the fact that, you know, you obviously get AI issues and other stuff like that. That's not saying that this is a bad game. It's a really good game. I love this game. But sometimes you kind of go back to why you got involved with a Marvel fighting game in the past, and that was, it wasn't as complex, and then all of a sudden you find that you're in deep. It's kind of being in a relationship. Like you start off dating, and all of a sudden it's several years down the line. You've got kids, pets, and a house. You know, things happen, and you're kind of like, but everything started off so kind of like simple. Hey, that's how life works. Anyway, this was the only mode information that we had. There was nothing like more to it. There really wasn't. And that was all we kind of like knew. That's all she wrote. Except for kind of like teasing, which happened in the following month. So a new month appears, which was this most recent live stream, and more information. You can see there's like an animation here from starting a match. It looks like these are randomized in some way. Like they just randomly appeared. Like I'll just play that back again, just so we can see that. 4, fight locked in. So you're locked in your fight. Did you pre-select those champions or not? And then it goes to that screen there. I think I've actually jumped around. I think I've jumped around a bit too much there. So let's just try and like, if we can get that animation up. But it did look like those champions were randomly appearing. And if they're randomly appearing, then that's interesting. And here we go. You can see here. See? They randomly appeared. And there, you've got Win Effect, Hela, Win Effect Sentry, swapping mechanics right there. There's also Absorbing Man as a boss. So that's interesting, isn't it? The setup, and you can see here, Lone Wolf, 10 points. I think I might have sussed this a little bit. In that, who you choose as a champion to face off against some of these ones here, as you select the opponent, if you do a tougher fight, you gain more points. Or a tougher champion choice to say some of these gains more points. That's how I'm looking at it. And Kabam, of course, will clarify at the end of this month how this is actually structured, because we're just assuming here. But what I wanted to do in this video was strip down what the images, animations are, and also structure, so you get an idea of what's going on. There's 3 rounds, but this is all interesting. I do like the concept of using 2 stars. I think that it's like it adds something that everyone can do, and there may be some surprises, and it may be a very level playing field for skill. That's what I like. I like it when Kabam do stuff like that, but they don't really do that. That's not really in the game's mantra even. 2-star focus, everyone gets a grant. Competitive meta event, can play as much as you want. Highest ranks rewarded with featured 7-star champion. So there could be stuff like you could take a risk with a champion, or it might be quite easy going. Let's play on. You can see here that the setup there, and you get information about nodes. And whether the node is, say, difficult, you may get a certain amount of points. You can see the fight being locked in. And, of course, the flow of it. With the fight being won, select one, hold to swap out. New hollows will be generated in their place. So it's kind of like a card game, effectively. Like a card game of values. If you remember the game that I played very recently, like a sponsored game on the channel, that was kind of a similar thing. There's a lot of risk to reward if you're willing to kind of like pair up certain ones with, or remove in order to get better champions, heroes, whatever, with it. But yeah, this does intrigue me a little bit. You've got a score guide here. That's, again, there's interesting elements to how your choice, I'd say, pick, can either result in getting more points or less points. You can see here, like there's the score guide has, I think that looks like 50 points there, or a higher amount of points. That's just 10 points, and there's a higher higher point number right there. If you're not seeing this, I will put a red circle around it just so you know what I'm talking about right here with the score guide. Will risk to reward, high risk give high reward. That is going to be quite exciting. So as we kind of like move on with the images, and you can see here, like you can also, it went to a trash can. Kabam aren't saying that Domino's trash. That's what you sacrifice. And by sacrificing, it brings in a new potential hollow, or a champion, so to speak. We're going to another start of the match, and I think it's just the same thing on rotation with it to kind of like show the execution of the structure of it. But it's still quite exciting what Kabam have got for this mode. And man, I'm looking forward to having, as I said, like if it's all equal, then that's great. If it's not all equal, then that could be quite annoying. That's just a sizzle reel of stuff, and we all know what the rewards are, which I think Kabam put up for like a microsecond, then it's all gone. It was there for a second, then that's gone. There we go. In this particular image, you can see that this says standard here. Use a small amount of energy to generate champions hollows using Reed Richards Hollow Tech. Prove you have what it takes to join the Fantastic Force. I'm not going to be able to read some of this because it is a bit different, and I don't know if the entry point... There's one here. It says standard and then something else. Whatever that's going to be. Finishing the top 50% of summoners in the Clash solo event earn points. So similar to like a Battlegrounds. This is going to be stressful if there's like a huge... It's a 13-day event, so whether this is going to be for 13 days, you might have to kind of like go ham. Will this impact your Battlegrounds base grind? Maybe or maybe not. But yes, that's exciting. It's exciting to see these are the rewards. Of course, you might be able to get High Evolutionary. So at least gives you a bit more participated in the event as a whole. So, what are your thoughts on this mode, this new mode coming in? A little bit more details that I wanted to break down, just have a look at a bit more. What's your hopes, your reservations, your criticisms, and are you really just waiting for the live stream that Kabam kind of announced this particular mode and go over it a bit more? I know I am, but as I said, I wanted to look over some of the details because I didn't have really enough time to dissect it last weekend, and there's been a lot of stuff to cover this week, and still more going into next week. Anyway, thank you very much for watching this video, and please check out some other content and support the channel as you amazingly do, and I'll see you all soon. Bye bye.